What's good? Told you I'd be back in a little bit. Here I am, video number 2 for the night. Once again, horror, of course, because that's usually what I'm talking about if I'm here on my channel. So I had the damn document open, and then I just kind of. All right. So we're gonna keep the topic the same. Top fives. This time, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 most disturbing horror films that I've personally watched that I think are just so messed up that they're my top 5. Do I what do I mean by most disturbing? Does that mean I like them? Yes. Does that mean I don't like them? Yes. It's both. And I will discuss. So, without further ado, my top 5 most disturbing horror films. We're going to do this the same way that we've been doing it, right? Coming in at number 5. And again, you know what? Full disclosure, I feel like the order that they're in, some of them don't really matter. I feel like in a way they could all be. This could be 5A, 5A, or 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D, 1E, because they're all really messed up. But basically that's me saying like, well, wait a minute, how's that number 5? But we all have our own preferences and opinions, right? Right. All right. Kind of sort of, if you understood what I meant, wanted to get that out of the way. Coming in at number 5 for my 5th most disturbed horror film, The Green Inferno. At one point in time, this was number 1 on my list, but I have seen 4 other films since then that have become more disturbing, in my opinion. But The Green Inferno is a doozy, is it not? It is, of course, Eli Roth's take on the Italian film Cannibal Holocaust, which I've never seen, and nor do I plan to, since I've already seen The Green Inferno. You want to know when I first watched The Green Inferno? The day after Christmas. Why? Because I am one sick, twisted individual, apparently. I remember because I wasn't feeling good. I had the sniffles and stuff, and I was like, hey, I know what'll make me feel better. I'm going to watch The Green Inferno. Yeah. Did it make me feel better? No. If it did, that probably would have made it even worse, right? So, if you've never seen The Green Inferno, basically it's a cannibal movie. Spoiler alert. This these group of, I forgot what they are. Uh, a group of people are on a plane. The plane crashes on an island inhabited by a native of cannibal tribe people, and they kidnap the people and torture them, slaughter them, and even eat some of them. There's one particular scene where there's this big black guy, and they do a number on him, and they show everything, and they put him on a skewer like a pig, and they show stuff. They show a lot of stuff. I don't know what they showed because I knew it was coming, so I covered my eyes for that scene, and I just heard it, and yeah, yeah, that scene probably would have messed me up if I watched it, if I'm being completely honest. How can you call yourself a horror author? How can you call yourself a lover of horror if you can't watch gruesome scenes like that? Because I have a line, folks. I draw the line in spots, and yeah, body horror, not a fan. Other than that, but the the Green Inferno is a good film, though. Aside from the cannibalistic tendencies it has and the sick, twisted torture it has, it's got a very slow burn. I'll use slow burn again, like I did from the last film, from the last video. The very beginning's got a slow burn, right? But then once you get into it, like you're in it, you're freaking in it, and you can't get out. You watch it, you look away, but you keep looking. And eventually, deep down inside, you kind of want it to end. Would I watch it again? Probably not. No, absolutely not. Maybe. I don't know. I would say it's less. Me watching it again is less than 50%. I'd put it at maybe 30%. I think it's a good film, but for what it is, but yeah. Coming in at number 4 for my most disturbing horror films, one that I have recently watched, and by recently I mean as of last week, VHS. Have you seen them? I will say I've only seen the first 2. Did you know that there's 7 of those fuckers? 7 of them. I didn't know this. It was basically one of those films that I had seen people talk about online, social media, Twitter. Uh, it was on Twitter posts because I follow horror groups and stuff. They talk about it. It was in Facebook posts and stuff. So finally, I saw it on Tubi because that's where I watch all my gore fest, crap fest horror films, right? So I was like, I want to watch this. I want to see what all the hype's about. And I thought I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't. I didn't at all. Not one bit. I like the fact that there's 5 of them, and it's like, and that the sixth one is the entire film in itself. I like that. The films themselves are really fucked up, and they're definitely disturbing. Hence the reason VHS comes in at number 4. Justin, why is this only number 4? I've watched VHS. They're fucked up. Why do you only have this as number 4? There's 3 more films more fucked up than this? In my opinion, yes. In my opinion, yes. The first set of films in the first one, I just remember seeing they have basically these guys break into this house. They're like vandals, they're punk kids, and they go into this room because they want to collect these tapes that they've heard about. Like they're kind of like snuff films, if you will, really. Just like stuff that you shouldn't be watching, and it's on VHS. Um, Basically, they get to this one room in the abandoned place, and there's a dead guy sitting in a chair. So they lock one of their buddies in the room with the dead guy sitting in the chair. He sits down and watches the videos with the dead guy sitting behind him. I already knew, I just had a feeling, spoiler alert, that by the time he gets to the last video, that the dead guy's not sitting there behind him anymore. Sure enough, he isn't. So all the films are like very, how do I explain it? Shock. I wouldn't say shock value, but they're definitely shocking, and they're all unique. They're all comprised of unique things, interactions that happen. The glitching ghost, the girl that's a creature. There's just a lot of disturbing things about the film, and I remember thinking 3 films in that this is what I, this is what everyone was talking about. There's there's 6 more of these. So since the second one was on Tubi, I was like, you know what? Let me just watch it. Then I mentioned it to my best friend, and she's like, well, if you really enjoy them, you should watch the rest of them. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Besides the fact that Tubi doesn't have the rest of them, I'm not going to go searching for them. Like, if they're there, I might be inclined and curious to watch them. But since they're not, I'm not going to go out searching for them. That's how that works. I watched the second one. I would say it's a little less. I wouldn't even say less. It's a little more subtle. I'm not really sure I'm using subtle in the right context here, but they're still fucked up stories, including this one guy who creates an alternate universe, and you think that's all fine and dandy until he sees his alternate wife, and it's really bizarre. Uh, but yeah, overall, I've only seen 2 of them. There's still 5 in the series. I imagine they get more fucked up as time goes by. They're disturbing. Hence the reason it comes in at numero uno, dos, tres, cuatro, uno, numero cuatro. Sorry, my Spanish has lacked since high school, really. Coming in at number 3 for the most disturbed horror film, Mansion of the Doomed. I imagine a lot of you people have never watched this film or even heard of it. But let me shine a little light on you. It is a fucking twisted film. So, you already know where I watched it. Doobie! But you want to know why I watched it? It was one of those films where I actually have a remote right here, right? I have my remote, and I was doing this. And I would scroll down, I'd be like, I would see the doctor, and I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, whatever. And I would, like, each time I would pass it. Finally, I stopped at it, and I read what it was about. And you know what made me watch it? Because they said that in the UK, it's banned. It's banned in the UK. You can't watch it. You can't watch it in the UK because it's so fucked up. Basically, it's about a surgeon. He's an eye surgeon. Conveniently enough, his daughter goes blind. She has an accident, I think. And he wants to restore his daughter's eyesight. And he starts off with basic experiments, but eventually he just goes down the absolute rabbit hole of wanting to get it right because it doesn't work. At first, like, the simple ideas that they don't work. Mind you, he's an eye surgeon, so he can, and it's his own daughter. So it's like, it just so happens that my daughter's eyes don't work and I can perform surgery. And I'll do anything to make it happen. And I mean anything. And, like, eventually he starts killing people. And, well, actually, no, scratch that. He doesn't kill people. He basically cuts out their eyes and tries to insert them into his daughter's eyes, where his daughter's eyes were. And basically, she doesn't take to the eyes. So he just keeps finding more people. He doesn't kill the people, though. Do you know what he does with them? He hides them down in his basement in a giant cage. So imagine a bunch of people in a cage with no eyes. Yeah. Yeah. At one point, he tries to kidnap a kid to take her eyes. And by then, I was like, dude, just give it up. Like, this is too much, right? It is a crazy film. What makes it even crazier is I didn't realize until halfway through the film that the guy that plays the surgeon was a guy that played in a Twilight Zone episode. Richard Basehart, I think is his name. He played in Probe 7 Over and Out, I believe. He was the astronaut that landed. And his name was Adam. It's like when you only see somebody in one thing, that's all you see them in, right? So seeing him in a completely different role years later where he's much older, I was just baffled, right? It is a really freaking twisted film, but it's great. Would I see it again? I would. It's still on Tubi. In fact, I might watch it again. How can you watch that and not The Green Inferno? I don't know. It's not as gory, I suppose. They don't actually show the surgery, right? It is a little disturbing to watch the people with no eyes, though. It's a little unsettling. Coming in at number 2, Bone Tomahawk. This is a Western horror film, and one that I've been meaning to watch for a while. It has Jeff Bridges in it, I believe. It also has Patrick Wilson, the guy from the Conjuring and Insidious series. And I didn't know how fucking gory and unfiltered it was. So basically, it's about these group of settlers and Western guys, basically, and they get kidnapped by this Indian tribe. Once again, if it involves an Indian tribe, something's messed up, right? It's disturbing because at one point, one of the guys is kidnapped, stripped naked, and hung by his feet, and they rip him apart. I watched that scene because I didn't know what was happening. With the Green Inferno, you kind of could get the feeling like, I think I know what's going to happen. Okay, I'm just going to do this. Yeah. With Bone Tomahawk, there wasn't really, like, they stripped him, but I was like, okay, they're stripping him. What are they going to do with him now? Not thinking for a second that they're going to rip him apart. You know what I mean? That they're going to torture him. And they did. And I was just like, oh, wow, okay, I'm just going to do this now because this is still happening. Oh, wow, okay. And on top of that, that's not the most to me that's the most fucked up part in the entire movie. There are other really messed up parts in the movie, but I would say overall the Indians, the natives, whatever you want to call them, well, I'm going to call them Indians. If that makes me, you want to cancel me for calling them Indians, that's what they are. That's what they are. That's not what we're here for, right? Basically, they're very unsettling. They're savage and they're creepy because they don't talk, right? They talk in their native tongue. And one of them gets kidnapped. I believe it's Patrick Wilson. And like he's just getting the shit kicked out of him. They not handcuff him, but they've got him knocked out and stuff. And he's like tied up by a wall. And they just come in and they'll just stare at him. And he's just sitting there swearing obscenities at him. And they just have all of them have this just really creepy vibe to them. And yeah, overall, it's just a really well done, disturbing film. And that scene where they rip that's why it's number 2 in my opinion, because it's really, really disturbing. Coming in at number 1, I don't even have to look at my phone because I know what it is now, is a movie called Mother. It stars Jennifer Lawrence, whom I cannot stand. Why? I don't know. Maybe because when everybody else liked her, I didn't, and I still just don't care for her. So yeah, if you've seen Mother, I want your thoughts on what it's called, what you thought about it. If you've seen the movie and you watched this video, please tell me what you thought of the movie in comments, or reach out to me on social media because I would love to know what you thought. My cousin actually recommended it to me. And I was like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence, I don't care for her, but all right. Okay. Oh, look, Javier Bardem, the guy from No Country for Old Men. Okay. And I watched it. Oh, look at that. It's Ed Harris. Okay. All right. This seems like a normal film. I don't see what the problem. This is kind of weird. I'm not going to use slow burn because I've already used it twice, and that doesn't even fit with what we're talking about here. Over the course of the film, it gets gritty. It builds up. Like you don't know what's happening. You don't know where the movie's going. Then you think you do, but you really don't. See, you don't know when you're in like the middle of the movie. Mind you, it's how do I even explain what this film is about? Basically, Jennifer Lawrence is in a house. She's in a very big house. And one by one, for whatever reason, she allows these people into her home because she's very hospitable. She allows Ed Harris, who's who's sick and his wife into the house. Before you know it, they're screwing each other's brains out, Ed Harris and his wife. And she's just like, what the hell? This is weird. Then they do it out in the open, and then they invite people over without asking her. And basically, more and more people are invited. Javier Bardem, which is Jennifer Lawrence's husband, he's just very disconnected, but he's like, oh, it's fine. We should invite them over. We should do all this. And you basically have no fucking idea what's going on. And eventually the film is just a complete mess because you're so confused. And then right when you think you might have a little shred of an idea of what's going on, something fucked up happens. I'm not even going to say it because it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And on top of that, more fucked up things happen, one after the other, and it's just so debaucherous. It is absolutely 100% disturbing and debaucherous is the only two words I can use. The letter of the night is D. It is a really dark and disturbing film. I'm not going to spoil what the movie is actually about, but once you find out what it is, and in all likelihood, you're going to be like me. You're going to Google it afterwards because it will completely went over your head. And you're going to Google it, and you're going to be like me. You're going to be like, what? What? And then you'll Google it again to find a site that explains it to you. So pretty much Reddit. And you'll find someone who can explain the film to you. This is what I did because it went so over my head because all I saw was this twisted, dark, and disturbing, debaucherous film. And there's actually deep, deep meanings behind it. Practically biblical, if you will. And it's just ridiculous. Would I ever watch it again? Absolutely not. Nope. You'd have to pay me to watch that filth again. So there you have it, my top 5 most disturbing horror films. Coming in at number 5 was The Green Inferno. Coming in at number 4 was VHS. Coming in at number 3 was Mansion of the Doomed. Number 2, Bone Tomahawk. And number 1 was Mother, starring Jennifer Lawrence. Now, before I close the video and end it for the night, let's go over whether or not I would watch these films again. Green Inferno. Would I watch it again? I'm going to say no. I think once is enough, right? Absolutely. VHS, I really can't say because it's still fresh in my mind, and there's still 5 other ones. So I think that's the better question here is, would I watch the next 5? And again, I'm going to say, like I said earlier, if they're there, if I happen to come across them, fine, maybe. I probably might. But I'm not going to go searching for them, right? Mansion of the Doomed, maybe this makes me twisted, but I want to watch that again. Would I watch Bone Tomahawk again? It's still on Tubi. It's actually on another app. I want to say Peacock. I do like Western horror. Hell, I write it, but I think if I watched it, I would probably have to just now look at that scene. Kind of like The Green Inferno, but The Green Inferno overall is just unsettling. Maybe. I'm a maybe on that one. And Mother, absolutely not. You'd have to pay me more than $100 to watch that film again. I'm being dead serious. I would rather eat a whole bag of sour warheads than have to sit through that movie ever again. Oh, man. I do hope you enjoyed this video of my top 5 most disturbing horror films, and do stay tuned for other videos in the future, as I can gladly tell you about what they might be. I will be going over and analyzing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series in a future video. I will also be analyzing the Friday the 13th franchise series, and well, look at that. I would also look at that, huh? All in a row, right? So don't you also have The Shining? I said, yep, that's right over there on that wall. And also Texas Chainsaw Massacres in the corner here. So I have quite a horrific living room, literally. And then finally, I'm going to be analyzing. It's all about analyzing film franchises in horror. Nightmare on Elm Street. So do stay tuned for those. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button so that way you know anytime that I go live. So that way I'm not doing these by myself and you watch them on the playback, but I'm used to it by now. Your subscribe is welcome and your views are welcome and appreciated. And this has been the 5 most disturbing horror films that I've ever watched, in my opinion. And until next time,